أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And welcome. I'm so glad you could join me for this reflection, which was compiled by Mir Ali Shah for the Living the Wisdom of the Quran podcast. Together, we're going to explore a really powerful section of Sūrah at-Taghābun, and we'll see how these huge cosmic truths in the Quran connect right down to our most intimate personal trials, our misfortunes, our families, and our wealth. So let's dive in. You know, the first part of the surah, it paints this vast cosmic canvas where every single atom is praising its Lord. But the Quran never just stays in the abstract, does it? It has this incredible way of bringing that cosmic reality right into our homes, right into our hearts. So we're going to shift gears now, moving from the heavens right to the heart of our daily lives. And we're going to ask a crucial question. How do we live these truths when we're faced with misfortune and with the tests of family and wealth? So, the very first challenge that these verses address is how a believer responds to calamity. When things go wrong, when misfortune just seems to strike out of nowhere, where does the heart turn? This right here is the first test of trust. The core message here is just so profound. The Quran tells us that no misfortune happens except by God's permission. Now, this is not about some kind of helpless fatalism, not at all. It's about finding meaning. For a believer, this understanding transforms suffering from just a random, bitter event into an actual source of guidance. The trial itself becomes the very path to a guided heart. And this is so important because it completely reframes our entire relationship with hardship. Okay, so now the focus shifts. We're moving from those external events, the things that happen to us, to the tests that we find right inside our own homes, from challenges that arise from the people we love the most. The Quran uses a very specific and powerful word here, fitna. Our wealth and our children are described as a fitna, a test. Now, that doesn't mean they're inherently bad. Absolutely not. Rather, they're the arena, the proving ground, where our devotion, our priorities, and the true direction of our heart are all proven. This verse, wow, it presents such a delicate balance. It acknowledges a really difficult truth. Sometimes the people we love most can even inadvertently pull us away from our spiritual path. They can become an enemy to our remembrance. But, and this is key, the prescribed response isn't rejection or anger. It's this beautiful, threefold call to mercy, to overlook, to forgive, and to pardon, which, in turn, reflects God's own nature as the all-forgiving. And this brings us to the third test that's presented in these verses. This one has to do with our attachment to wealth and what you could almost call the spiritual economics of giving. I mean, this is a truly stunning metaphor. The verse invites us to frame charity as making a generous loan to God. Just think about that for a second. The one who owns everything, who is in need of nothing, invites us into a relationship of reciprocity. So the crucial point here is that giving isn't a loss. It's an investment that God promises to multiply. And it's a transaction that purifies our own hearts from greed and from fear. All right, now that we've looked at the verses themselves, let's explore how scholars have understood them. We're going to look at two layers of meaning, the outer legal application, which is known as the zahir, and the inner spiritual significance, the batin. And this just illustrates the two dimensions so brilliantly. On the left, you have the outer commentary from scholars like al-Tabari. They establish a foundational principle of faith. Affliction is by divine permission, not by neglect. It sets the intellectual framework. But then, on the right, you have the inner commentary from Sufi masters like al-Qushayri, and they reveal the spiritual outcome. That same affliction, when it's met with trust, doesn't break the heart, it polishes it. This timeless line from Rumi just perfectly captures the essence of that Sufi understanding. Trials aren't divine punishments, they are openings. They are the very places where divine light and guidance can finally enter a heart that was maybe closed off by comfort and ease. And, you know, this idea of finding a deeper meaning is taken even further in some traditions, which explore the numerical values of the Arabic words. For instance, it's been noted that the words for trial, fitna, and your souls, nufusikum, both resolve to the number 4, a symbol of foundation and firmness. It's like a subtle hint. Maybe these tests are not meant to destabilize us, but to actually establish our spiritual footing on solid ground. What's really fascinating is how this ancient spiritual wisdom resonates so clearly with findings in modern psychology. The Quran's insights into hardship, meaning, and generosity are now actually being affirmed by scientific research. It's incredible how this all lines up. Studies show that moderate, manageable hardship actually builds a resilience. A belief system, like the one we see in this surah, helps frame that difficulty as formative, not just destructive. And when it comes to generosity, neuroimaging shows that giving to others literally activates the reward centers in our brain, confirming that we are wired to find joy in charity. So let's bring this all home. The real value of this wisdom is in how we apply it. This next section is a chance for a little personal reflection, to ask how these verses speak to our own lives, right here and now. Let's really consider this. When you face a setback, what is the immediate story your heart tells itself? Is it one of cosmic injustice, or is it an invitation from God to draw closer and trust more deeply? Our closest relationships are our greatest blessings, but they can also be our most subtle tests. How do we navigate this? How do we ensure our love for them strengthens our love for God, rather than becoming a distraction from it? And finally, our wealth. We so often hold on to it tightly out of fear. But what if the opposite were true? What if the act of giving, of making that loan to God, is the very thing that liberates us from the anxiety of losing what we have? Let's conclude with this beautiful supplication, this munajat. O Lord, who tests without abandoning, steady our hearts when certainty is shaken. Do not let love become a veil or fear become a ruler. Teach us to give without anxiety and to trust without delay. Amin.